Yo, Michael Saylor just made another explosive $21 million Bitcoin price prediction in front of 10,000 people at BTC Prague. But what if there's more than meets the eye? The main question is, why is Michael Saylor once again raising his Bitcoin price prediction? I think that's something that actually me and Opti predicted when he originally came out with that $13 million base case. We said, bro, he's going to have to one-up himself every single conference. And that's exactly what he did. 2024 in Nashville, he said, hey, guys, $13 million Bitcoin in 20 years. And then bam, bing, bang, boom, 2025 at BTC Prague, he's like, hey, boys, $21 million Bitcoin in 21 years. So what information is he seeing? What does he have access to that we all don't have access to? We're going to be doing a full breakdown. But before we do a deep dive into all this and have this fabulous conversation, let's check out this clip from the man, the myth, the Chad Saylor himself.
And so with that, with the help of all that information, I'm going to now share my Bitcoin prophecy. I think we're going to be $21 million in 21 years. It's a very special time in the network, maybe the one time in the history of the network where you look out 21 years and you see 21 million. Specifically, I expect 21 million coins at a $21 million price in 21 years, and people ask, how's the network going to grow? It's going to be growing at 21% in 21 years. The volatility is going to be 21. This is all, the only number you need to remember is the number 21.
All right, everybody, we are back. Okay, 21 million, 21% CAGR. That's Michael Saylor's official prophecy. And just doing a little bit of compare and contrast, shall we? This is what he predicted the year before at Bitcoin 2024. He said that his base case was $13 million, that Bitcoin would have a $280 trillion market cap, and his CAGR was 29%. So he changed the numbers a little bit. But what I will say is, actually, me and Opti, to give ourselves a little bit of credit, we did predict that he was going to raise the numbers. And the reason for that is quite simple. Like, once you start, putting numbers out, you kind of have to raise the price predictions. That's kind of how it works, right? So, I'm not saying it's overly bullish. I'm not saying it's overly bearish. But I will say it was inevitable that this was going to happen. Now, what's he going to say next year? $50 million Bitcoin. I mean, technically, he did say that. But anyways, Opti, you do have another clip, right?
Yeah. But before we get to that, I do want to point out, like, look at this chart here, guys. If you kind of notice that, obviously, I'm gonna play the clip for you guys. It is interesting that he basically says, in 21 years, there'll be a 21% ARR, which is what we're seeing here as his bear case now. And that's basically like his base case, bull case going into the future. So it is absolutely incredible that we're seeing him kind of go from 13 mil to 21 mil. Maybe it's just a good meme. The only number you need to remember is 21. Obviously on brand for Bitcoin, on brand for the 21 million hard cap. But remember, 2 weeks ago, I believe it was, we did kind of an updated CAGR based on his prediction of last year, based on 100K price. And that price got moved up to 16 mil. Now, this is just blowing that out of the water here at 21 million. So again, the question is, like, what is he saying, or rather seeing on the back end? And I think we've been covering this on the show for a long time. In the clip we have for you, he doesn't really explain everything that he's seeing on the back end. Maybe there's some proprietary information that he really can't tell us, but we have been hearing what Saylor's been saying about why he thinks it's going to these ridiculous numbers. And I know everyone's like, dude, I'm sick and tired of these 20-year projections. Just tell me what Bitcoin's going to do next year. Obviously, we don't know, but as Stu's going to tell us, it's already infinity per Bitcoin. It's priceless. You know, Bitcoin is the most valuable thing you can own, period. But again, just to recap some of these things, we talked about Saylor. He did this in, I believe it was 2020, Nico, where he said the three things that take Bitcoin to 5 mil is the ETF, it is the FASB accounting rules, and then banks custodying Bitcoin. And I think that was by 2030. So all those things are cleared out. And then we followed him up again recently. I believe, again, it was last week. And he went out and was saying crazy stuff on Squawk Wax, and apparently saying it's on Squawk Wax. I'm choking on my saliva over here. And he was basically saying it's the regulatory environment that we're seeing, the embracing of Bitcoin from nation states, the game theory kicking in, of course, the 21 million hard cap, and then the next halving, there's going to be less Bitcoin circulating in the market. So things are going to get crazy. Of course, we've all heard and been covering the corporate treasury strategy playing out, where all these corporations are seemingly wanting to buy Bitcoin. So I think we are going to see the fabled supply shock that everyone's been talking about. It's got to happen at some point. I know everyone's really right now probably in the chat going like, hey, bro, you know, we just got under 100K. Crazy stuff going on in the world. Can we just get to like 120, 150K? I even have friends that are longtime Bitcoiners right now that are essentially turning bears on me. And I'm like, bro, get out of my DMs here. Like, stop text messaging me this bear doom stuff. Like, no one wants to hear this. We stay bull-tarded in every possible scenario. So actually, before I play the next clip though, Stu from SatChats, literally, you know, someone that hangs out in the chat, doing his own thing. What's your thoughts on these predictions? I know you told me before the show, you're like, I don't care about the fiat price. The only price or the only number that matters is how many sats I hold, which is, you know, a Nicoism here. So, Stu, thanks for coming on today. What's your thoughts on this?
Yeah, man. I mean, first of all, Knights of Opti, salute in the. This is what happens when you listen to Simply Bitcoin every day. You turn into a Bitcoiner and you appear on the show. Dude, 21, 20. What was all that, man? I mean, I can tell you exactly what the price of Bitcoin will be next year. I can tell you exactly what the price of Bitcoin will be in 21 years, man. The price of one Bitcoin next year is going to be one Bitcoin, dude. What do you who cares all that business? All I care about is how much Bitcoin do I have? Because the exchange rate back into fiat clown world is unimportant, man. We're talking about a brand new form of computation that has solved the copy paste problem.
Let's go. Bars. Actually, we'll give them some.
Listen, that's called
Okay.
motherfucking bars.
Now on to the next clip, which is a little more of an explainer. And I really hope this didn't mess up on me, because Restream did mess up on me, but I'm pretty sure this is the right one. So let's listen to the second clip and then we'll chat about it.
And what does that look like? Well, that looks like 28.5% from here. Not that different, slightly less than 29% ARR. But the path to 21 million, it's not going to be simple. It's going to be volatile. And so you're going to see a volatility, and it's going to damp over time, but you got to be prepared for the volatility, for the surges and the drawdowns, the good days, the bad days. This is Bitcoin's annualized return looking back a decade, looking forward 2 decades. And you can see that the network was growing faster when it's small. That's totally rational. It's now in the mid-50s. What do I expect? I expect it will continue to grow exponentially, but as it approaches hundreds of trillions of dollars, it will decelerate to the point where it's growing about 21% a year. Now, how does that compare to the S&P? It'll be growing faster. In 20 years, it's still going to be the best idea. It's still going to be the most lucrative capital asset a company can hold. It's still going to be durable, vital. There will not be a better investment in the year 2046. And I think it's very important to understand that Bitcoin's trending toward the performance of the best capital assets in the world, in the conventional world, which are like, Mag 7 digital monopolies mixed into an index. It's trending toward it, but it will never reach it. And it will never perform at that level because it's always going to be better. It's always going to be more useful. It's always going to be less risky. It's always going to have the counterparty risk of a company stripped away. There's never going to be a CEO to subpoena. There's never going to be a labor force. There's never going to be the challenge of a supply chain. It's never going to have a tariff on it. It's going to be pure digital energy, pure economic energy. By then, it will be moving at the speed of light on layer 2s, on layer 3s. It'll be moving 10 million times a second. It'll be trading between billions and billions of nodes and billions of other nodes. There's going to be nothing else to compete with it. It will be the most valuable thing, performing the best. You're not going to want to sell it in 21 years. You're just going to wish that you had acquired more of it.
So, I mean, dude, I'm going to stick to my guns. And I'm going to say, like, definitely raising the price. Definitely raising the price prediction. And if you take a look at that chart too, it looks like all that parabola is going to happen when we're all old men. It looks like that short-term volatility isn't going to happen for another 15, 20 years. It's going to give them a ton of leeway and whatnot. But I'm not surprised. I mean, look, like we called this when he made his initial price prediction. And I'm not saying he's going to be wrong at all. I'm not trying to imply that. But we called this last year when he made these predictions, right? When he made that $13 million prediction, I told Opti, I was like, dude, like once you start heading down this path, you're just going to have to start moving this up, or else it's just not that big of a deal, right? I think to what I get from essentially that whole segment that he did, that whole presentation he did, I think it's like 44 minutes, is that at the end, fundamentally, like Bitcoin is going to be the best performing asset. It is going to be beating the S&P. But at the same time, it is maturing. And that's kind of a reality that I think Bitcoiners have to face, right? The days of these 10Xs kind of overnight, maybe they're kind of past us a little bit. That's what I'm thinking.
Boo.
It is getting a little bit, it's maturing. I think it was Mauricio when he came on, he was like breaking it down. This cycle is like primarily driven by institutions. I mean, all these kind of retail, all these Bitcoin purchases, the big ones specifically, they're being bought by smart money. These aren't kind of retail, hype mania type of phases that we've had in the past. Now, I'm not saying that can't happen, but I think unit bias is a big deal. I think it is something to consider. And I think Bitcoin just growing up as an asset. Now, I think the good part about this is we might not see those crazy, 80% corrections that we've seen in the past. I love pulling up this chart because it kind of explains what I'm talking about. Like Bitcoin hasn't been searched like it has since December of 2017, right? Which is when we ran up from 1K to 20K. And then in 2021, it kind of had a little bit of a mania, right? But it only got to like 50 of what the 2017 mania was. And then currently right now, right, we had a mania like at the end of last year, November, December. And then it's just kind of been, kind of retail is not even aware that Bitcoin exists. And it seems like the volatility plays right now happen to be the Bitcoin Treasury companies. That's what I'm seeing. Now, does that mean that Bitcoin is boring or that it's a bad investment or any of these things? No, I don't think so. I think Bitcoin's extremely exciting. I think 29% CAGR, year over year. And then the next 5 years, it's going to be between 50 and 35 or 40, whatever.
nothing's going to give you that type of return from a risk adjusted basis. So, I mean, it's still extremely lucrative. It's a one in a generational opportunity, obviously, but simultaneously, you have to understand that the game has changed a little bit. The game has changed a little bit, but, and I said this when we were covering this and when Mauricio was on the show, like, simultaneously, we've heard this narrative before that cycles are over, cycles are done for. I've heard this many times before, ladies and gentlemen. The last 2 or 3 cycles, I've heard the same thing. Cycles are over, cycles are done. This is the super cycle. So this could be the same case here. But from where I'm sitting, man, the price action this year, we started, I believe it was like $109,000. 6 months into the year, 6 or 7 months into the year, we're sitting at 100,000 basically. So 6 months into the year. So for 6 months, we've literally been going sideways. We had a dip to like the 70Ks, and then we're back at the 100K region. And then, Orange Man decided to, drop some bombs, and that didn't really help the price. We're going to be talking about that, by the way, because the hash rate like crashed. It was kind of, I don't know. I think that's interesting. I think you guys will appreciate it. Anyways, if you guys are enjoying the show so far, make sure to smash that like button. Help us break 100 likes by the 30-minute mark. So smash that like button if you guys are enjoying the show. And I do want to give a shout out to the live stream. 1,400 of you guys watching live between YouTube and X. And of course, shout out to the Rumble live stream as well. Again, if you guys are enjoying Simply Bitcoin Live, smash that like button. Opti, I don't know what to say, dude. Like, it's not as exciting as it was when we started covering this 6 months ago.
Look, I'm gonna pass it to Stu because it's gonna be two bulltards bullying a bear on today's show. So Stu, you start with this and then tag me in the ring.
Dude, come on, Nico. Bitcoin is so exciting. Yes, it's fun to think about how many dollars it'll get us in the future, because I'm trying to live that life for sure. I mean, I was working a career and earning more and more, and my budget was getting tighter and tighter, and like I didn't have access to traditional assets. I'm like, dude, what's going on here, man? I do want Bitcoin to help me go to the moon, but if you're saying that maybe it's like days of going wild are behind us, fine, dude, because my dollar's going down no matter what. If Bitcoin can just like help me stay steady, and the money I put into it is the money that comes back out of it, and like my boy Skip on down the road says, it's actually about the purchasing power. If Bitcoin can just preserve my purchasing power, that's good enough for me, because I know the dollar isn't. But dude, if you want to come at it like an asset and say, hey, look, here's a chart, and we're going to put this lens onto Bitcoin like it is a stock or a bond or real estate, and then the candles are happening and all that, fine, that's fine. Bitcoin is an asset, and you're not wrong, but Bitcoin is also money. Bitcoin is also a brand new form of computation, man. It's like the Wright brothers appeared out of nowhere, and like number 60 Simple Steve says, put together an airplane out of spare lawnmower parts, flew it, and disappeared. Like, nobody actually knows just what Bitcoin is going to do in the future. And I challenge you to tell me that Bitcoin won't 10x in fiat terms when people figure out that it works on the moon, that it works on Mars, that it's the intergalactic credit, man. Bitcoin's going up.
Yeah, I mean, but again, moving the goalposts a little bit, and that's something to keep in mind, right? While we're having this conversation, right? It went from, all right, man, Bitcoin's gonna 10x, right? To like, bro, I'm happy that it maintains our purchasing power a little bit, right? So it is kind of, again, I gotta say, it is a maturing asset. It's still incredibly exciting. I think that if you're thinking long term, but I mean, Opti, are the glory days behind us, my friend? Because he's moving these price predictions. I mean, 21 years, dude. Like, we're gonna be middle aged. You're probably gonna
be boomers.
You're probably gonna have some babies by then. Well, we'll see.
Like, dude, like, I mean, like, it used to be like, okay, bro, like 10x in 2 years in a cycle, right? Now it's you know, the 20x or 30x in 21 years. Like, holy cow. I'm just saying.
I mean, 21 mil from here in 20 years, 21 years. I think that's more than a 20x, Nico. So
What is that? Like,
I think that's a 200x.
that's 200x.
But hey, you know, maths is hard. I don't know. Someone fact check me in the chat here. Anyways, my take is like, look, are the good days long gone? I don't think so. One, more of a heuristic that I feel. It's like you go and talk to people, normal people. I know you guys don't talk to normal people. You have excommunicated all of the people in your lives that aren't Bitcoiners. But if you still talk to normal people, most of them think you're crazy when you bring up Bitcoin. And further, most of them think you're even crazier if you tell them you're all in on Bitcoin. And what that tells me is few people are actually in Bitcoin. I know we've gotten a lot of metrics recently, somewhere around the line, at least this is kind of the consensus right now, that there's probably, you know, 1 to maybe 3% of people globally that are in Bitcoin. And I venture to guess it's even lower, the percentage of people that really understand Bitcoin like every one of us do in the chat and that make Bitcoin content. So I think that the true adoption rate of Bitcoin from like a Bitcoin maxi perspective is, I think, a lot lower. And so you kind of, you know, you take that idea and you realize most people out there, you go to the grocery store, you know, you go get gas, et cetera, et cetera. I would guess that probably less than one person every time you go out there actually holds some Bitcoin, understands some Bitcoin. So I'm saying all that to essentially say, I think we still haven't seen the S-curve adoption of Bitcoin. I think it's still going to go absolutely nuclear. And if you kind of look at that chart that Saylor was saying, I think that's kind of what he's saying. He's like, look, the next 20 years is going to be the time that Bitcoin becomes monetized, the Bitcoin standard, hyper-Bitcoinization, whatever you want to call it. That is when we do, what did I do? That's when we do the parabolic run up, because we still haven't seen, I think, the critical mass of adoption on Bitcoin. Now, that's more of a heuristic. That's more of a gut feeling. But if you think the good old days are gone, and Saylor is correct, Bitcoin going up $1 million a year, I don't know. That sounds pretty bullish to me. Yes, maybe in percentage terms, it's worse than what it was in the past. But in via purchasing power terms, that's an incredible ride. And if you listen to that clip, there's a few interesting parts about it. One, he basically said like that the Magnificent Seven, you know, all the big tech stocks that are now the monopolies of the world, they're going to be left in the dust. Now, everyone knows that right now, this is how you stay ahead. You basically just hold the bag 7. You know, maybe you got some real estate, some other kind of investments, but the big leaders in your portfolio are the ones that are dominating the world. The big multi-international corporations that basically we're all using. That's how you really stay ahead of the debasement of the dollar. Now, if Bitcoin does better than that, then you can venture to guess that a lot of people are going to essentially diversify from those portfolios into Bitcoin. And I think it just starts to magnify. I really don't think we've hit that snowball tipping point moment yet. We're starting to get there, and I think we all kind of do have a little PTSD from the last run. We're all kind of trying to rationalize and model out how this is going to work. But again, the irrational spirits of humanity, the psychology behind humanity figuring out that there's a better money out there, I think that's going to blow everything out of the water. Now, the last thing that's not really price predictions that I kind of find interesting was Saylor saying there's going to be billions of nodes there. Now, that is incredibly bullish. I think that's even more bullish than I would think. We're at what? Roughly, you know, again, the metric's somewhere around 20,000 nodes. So I don't really think 1 in 8 people are going to be running nodes. Personally, I think it's going to be less. But if that's the case, you know, a node almost in every household, it's hard to see how you're not bullish here. Yes, of course, we're starting to feel like I said, I have a couple friends that are starting to be doomers out there. They're starting to be bears, aka Nico over here. You know, we're all waiting. We all want the price to run. We're all wondering if the cycles are breaking. But I'm still convinced this year is like 200, 300K by the end of the year. I think we're going to follow old cycles and we're going to get a blow off top like November, December time, as we've seen multiple times in the past. But again, all of the buying and purchasing power of Bitcoin, the purchasing of coins from treasuries, it's just like there's not that much Bitcoin to go around when the majority of coins, I think it was like 68% of coins are held in self-custody.
It's like this can get crazy really fast. Now, again, as I kind of caveated this in the beginning, everyone it's getting kind of tired of like what's going to happen in 20 years. As Nico was saying, you know, we're going to be boomers by then. Well, not actually boomers, but we'll be basically senior citizens at that point. Like I want to enjoy these purchasing power now. So we're all kind of thinking, okay, what's going to like, dude, we've heard the predictions. We know it's going up forever. Infinity divided by 21 million or everything divided by 20. I get all the ideological, you know, rhetoric around Bitcoin, the propaganda around Bitcoin. It's like, but what's this going to do in a year or two for me and my family? Because that's really what people are focused on. It's like people have problems right now. People are hurting. We're seeing all kinds of crazy stuff. And, you know, on a more tempered take, Nico was kind of trolling it. Guys, we've just seen some crazy stuff over the weekend and Bitcoin barely dipped down under 100K. Like, I don't know. I think the network and even the price of Bitcoin right now is pretty stable, pretty strong. I think this is a good dive off point for what we're going to see by the end of the year. And then also, you know, we get a discount. If you like it at 100K, you'll like it at 99K. If you like it at $1 million, you're going to love it at 100K. Like, what's the issue here? Of course, you know, we want to enjoy our purchasing power here. We want to enjoy the hodl ride here. But as me and Stu were saying before the show, as Nico said on the show before, the only real number is, are you acquiring more Bitcoin? That's the only thing that matters. Everything else is fun. We love to do price predictions. Anyone that says they don't care about the price of Bitcoin is lying. Everyone loves to just make predictions and try to entice their friends, the FOMO, into this. Dude,
now, Opti, is Michael Saylor saying that his base case from 13 is now up to 21, or that?
That's exactly
okay.
what
all right. So just to clear it up for the people.
He's not bringing his bull case down from 40.
No, he's bringing it up. So just to be clear here,
as we predicted.
Yeah, just to be clear here for everyone, if you pop in a little late. So Saylor basically moved up his 21-year prediction to 21 million. And then after that 21 million price point, he's saying that Bitcoin will increase by 21% every year. And the volatility will be dampened from, 70, 80% corrections to roughly fluctuating around this 21%. So I don't know. All these models, of course, they will be broken, are kind of bullish to me.
Yeah. Let's go.
Dude, let's go. So yes, ladies and gentlemen, the TLDR, Michael Saylor has officially raised his price prediction from $13 million per coin to $21 million per coin. We predicted this on Simply Bitcoin because once you start throwing out these price predictions, you got to one up yourself. You guys have to understand, every presentation that you make, you set a bar. It's like when you do an interview with someone and the interview has like a certain production quality, the next interview has to have the same production quality or better production quality, or else just people won't resonate with it the same. So like you get used to it. It's like as if I told you to go back in time and, adopt an iPhone 5, right? Like you'd be like, dude, this thing sucks. But at the time, you're like, yo, this thing's awesome. Like human beings get used to things, right? So once you start kind of saying, okay, $13 million per coin, the next one you're gonna have to raise it a little bit, right? So I think that was an inevitability as we predicted here on Simply Bitcoin. The moment we covered that prediction, I think it was like a year ago or so. So it's not surprising at all. But I that doesn't mean that I disagree with Saylor though. I completely agree with him. I think this thing's going up forever. I think the volatility has decreased a little bit, and I think that's a reality that I think a lot of Bitcoiners are still kind of digesting. As Mauricio came on, Mauricio, co-founder of Ledin, he came on last week, and he broke it down for you guys. He said, like, listen, guys, like it's a little bit of a different game now. Bitcoin's grown up. These are real players buying Bitcoin. Like this is smart money buying Bitcoin. What does that mean? That means that they're not just going on whatever on-ramp they're using and smash buying. They're doing it in a way where they're not moving the price upwards. But that's only going to happen for so long until what happens? I mean, you see the Pete Russo posts you see them all the time. Like eventually, like a beach ball that you put underwater, the thing's eventually going to blow up to the top. Now, there is conversation of potential paper Bitcoin as well. And that is kind of a risk. I remember having a very deep conversation with Caitlin Long and Larry Lepard about this. And, you know, fundamentally, a lot of this Bitcoin is held with custodians, right? So you kind of have to take their word for it that they have the Bitcoin that they have that they are supposedly selling, right? And yeah, fundamentally, like, let's look at the reality. The reality is at the beginning of the year, Bitcoin was at 109K. Right now, 6 months into the year, Bitcoin's at $100,771, right? So we've literally gone sideways for 6 months, right? Like, could you imagine telling us that 6 months ago, Opti? I think we would have quit. I think Simply Bitcoin would have wrapped up. No, but at the simultaneously, you know, I'm as equally bullish as Opti heading into the end of the year. Historically, Bitcoin performs extremely well in Q4. Let's see if it continues that pattern. If it doesn't continue that pattern, we're in completely uncharted territory, right? If Bitcoin, you know, already peaked, or we're at 100K, or we start kind of just going sideways and we start kind of creeping up, we're in uncharted territory. And that kind of reminds me of this post from VJ Boyapati, which I'm gonna pull up for you guys, because I was like tweeting about this, and VJ's done is awesome. He wrote the case, like, you know, the bull case for Bitcoin, and I do want to pull up one of the posts that he did, which was really, really interesting and I think extremely fitting. So, Opti, if you could pull up the screen, senor, thank you, sir. Why is Bitcoin's price stuck? There are billions in inflows from ETFs and treasury companies, and the supply of newly mined Bitcoin is minuscule compared to these flows. What gives? One answer is that there's a lot of paper Bitcoin flowing around, suppressing the price. I do not agree with this theory. The simple truth is 100K was a magic number for a lot of long-time hodlers who happen to hold a huge fraction of the total liquid supply of Bitcoin. The selling from these whales is easily enough to match the demand from ETFs and Saylor, and could for some time. This is not something to be concerned about, but something to celebrate. The process of monetization involves the distribution of a new monetary good among the population. This cannot happen without whales letting go of their long-held coins. Eventually, whales will sate their demand to diversify, and the price will begin moving again and hit the magic number of some other group of long-term holders. Along the way, there will be air pockets both up and down as it becomes clear, for example, that there are very few whales interested in selling between 100 and 120 and 150K. Do not fret about the sideways grind. Just know that under the hood, the process of monetization of Bitcoin continues unabated. He posted this June 6th of 2025. Now, what I will say too is after having a conversation with a good friend of mine who happens to be he has a very high up position in one of the Bitcoin on ramps. I was kind of joking with him. I was like, dude, like, what's going on? This paper Bitcoin. And he gave me the same theory, basically about whales, you know, kind of selling. And then that gave me the idea of asking YouTube, like releasing a poll on YouTube, basically asking you guys, at what price would you sell your Bitcoin? It was fascinating. So I put 150K, I put 250K, I put 500K, and I put $1 million. The vast majority of people that voted in that poll put I would consider selling some of my Bitcoin at $1 million per coin. And I found that really interesting. Now, the reason I'm bringing this up is I want you guys to connect the dots. This is what VJ is saying. Imagine the people that bought at $100 per coin and you're selling at 100,000. You're on cloud 9 right now, right? You're very, very happy with what Bitcoin's done for you, and you want to upgrade your lifestyle a little bit, right? So you sell not your entire stack, but you sell 10, 20, 30% of your stack. But remember, these are people that have thousands of coins because they were buying it at $100, at $50, at $1, right? So yes, this is what we're getting. We're getting a distribution. Anyways, if you guys are enjoying today's show, make sure to smash that like button. We have 2,000 people watching live between YouTube and X. And shout out to the Rumble audience that's coming in strong. We appreciate you guys on Rumble. Smash the like button if you guys are enjoying the show. We still have a ton to cover. We're going to be talking about, the hash rate coincidentally dropping when some other things were being dropped. So we're going to be talking about that. Then during the news segment, Anthony Pompliano has raised $750 million to launch another Bitcoin Treasury company. That seems to be the play this cycle, right? And Michael Saylor has continued to stack more corn. He's bought about where is it here? Can't see it. 245 Bitcoin for $26 million. I think this is one of his smallest buys. It's quite interesting. And then, of course, we have our very special guest today. We're going to be talking to Stu about SatChats, the podcast. These guys coming into the scene, and we're going to be talking about their show, what they do, what makes them unique, what makes them special. But before we jump into all that, Simply Bitcoin does have to give a shout out to its partners, because without our partners, we would not be on air right now. Of course, I do want to give a shout out to the best place to build your automatic self-custody Bitcoin stack, bitcoinwell.com. To get started, you scan the QR code on your screen right now. It will take you directly to bitcoinwell.com/simply. You put in your email address, and bada bing, bada boom, you're ready to buy Bitcoin within 2 to 5 minutes. And what makes Bitcoin Well different, what makes them unique, is that it's automatic self-custody. What does that mean? What the F did Nico just say? I mean that when you buy Bitcoin on Bitcoin Well, as soon as the funds clear, it goes straight to your self-custody Bitcoin wallet address. They don't even allow you to leave the Bitcoin on the exchange. When you buy Bitcoin on Bitcoin Well, you earn something called Bitcoin Well points. You could redeem those points towards a bunch of different prizes, like a Simply Bitcoin hoodie, which is sold out, a orange Cybertruck, a stamp seed plate, an entropy pouch, a leather mint wallet, a BitAxe solo miner. Or you could redeem those towards the Bitcoin Wishing Well contest, which we're going to be doing live for you guys right now, and toss a coin into the Wishing Well. First person to scan the QR code has won 570 sats. Again, guys, if you use promo code SIMPLY or go to bitcoinwell.com/simply and you make your first Bitcoin purchase, you get 3 tosses into the Wishing Well, and every single toss you have an opportunity to win up to 1 million sats. It's like $1,000 these days. All right, everybody, let's get to the numbers. We have tons to talk about. Sit back, relax, enjoy the show. Smash the like button, subscribe, and we'll be right back in just a second.
I want to tell you guys about our sponsor, Stamp Seed. Is your Bitcoin in cold storage really secure? Are your seed words really secure? Stamp Seed's do-it-yourself kit has everything you'll need to hammer your seed words into commercial-grade titanium plates instead of writing them down on paper. Don't do that. Paper sucks. You want to literally stamp your seed into this plate of titanium. Your words are actually stamped into the metal plate with this hammer. So once your words are in, they aren't going anywhere. No risk of the plate breaking apart and your pieces falling everywhere. Titanium stamp seeds will survive nearly triple the heat produced by a house fire. They are also crush-proof, waterproof, non-corrosive, and most importantly, because this is generational wealth, time-proof. All things that paper is not, allowing you to hodl your Bitcoin for the long haul. I mean, here is the plate that they crushed. They put in water, they put a blowtorch to it, and as you can see, the words have survived. Stamp your seed on Stamp Seed. And you can use promo code SIMPLY to get 15% off anything on their store. Head over to stampseed.com today.
All right, everybody, we are back. At the time of recording, the Bitcoin price is $101,440. Block height, 902,439 sats per dollar, 985 market cap, 2.02 trillion. Bitcoin versus gold market cap, 8.43%. Decline from all-time high. If you're buying Bitcoin right now, you're getting it at a 9.4% discount. And the realized monetary inflation rate, my favorite stat out of all of this, is 0.84%, continuing to take fiat currencies to absolute school. We're going to go down a little bit of a rabbit hole right now. Bear with us. By the way, smash that like button. Help us get 100 likes within the first 45 minutes of the show. So smash that like button if you guys are enjoying it. And I do want to give a shout out to the live stream, about to break 2,000 live viewers. And of course, the Rumble stream coming in hot. So smash that like button if you guys are enjoying Simply Bitcoin Live. But I do want to go down this rabbit hole. I find it quite interesting. And I think this shit will happen in the future. Excuse my language. So here's Max Kaiser. And he says, what if the U.S. was using, I can't say that word. I'm gonna have to replace that word.
Boom boom, the big boom boom.
What if the U.S. was using the boom booms weapons story as a cover to hit a specific Middle Eastern country's BTC mining facilities, right? So that's a bit of a rabbit hole, ladies and gentlemen. Of course, if you haven't been living under a rock, there's a bit of a situation in the Middle East where, once again, there's boom booms are being dropped on the Middle East for, just reasons. And I got to say personally, Matt Crater covered this. I'm personally extremely disappointed. We were promised a golden age. We were promised the number go up. We were specifically promised no more boom booms in the Middle East. And boom booms in the Middle East have been happening. And that's a boo-boo. Anyways, so Max Kaiser kind of found this out. And he pointed to the hash rate. There was a bit of a hash rate drop while this whole thing happened, right? And then I followed up with this morning. Got a lot of people heated too. I said, Trump did say he wanted all the mining to be in the U.S. Is it a coincidence that the hash rate dropped while the B2s boom boomed the Middle East? Is it a coincidence? And a lot of people got pissed off. A lot of people were dropping memes. But there was one post, man, and it shows up on my, where is this, dude? Is it this?
Boom boom.
Let me see. No, dude, it doesn't. Why does it why does it show on my, look at it. Oh, he deleted it. Oh no, he didn't. Okay.
He boom boomed it.
Okay, but
He boom boomed it.
I liked it. I liked the tweet, so I could see it. That's so weird. No, it's on my personal. All right. Well, yeah, it is kind of weird.
Just read the tweet from your phone.
Okay. So Brennan Smithson said,
Docs.
What that's his actual handle. That's his actual handle. He says, what if the bombing had nothing to do with the Boom Boom program and was all about cutting it off from the Bitcoin network? Sorry, the tinfoil is getting a little tight. And then he posts a picture of the war in Iraq of a soldier essentially just standing with all the gold bars, because that's what a lot of people forget, right? When they went to Iraq, all that gold that belonged to the previous government was just straight up seized. In fact, they made a movie about it where they showed this a little bit. You guys remember the movie War Dogs? It was it was a pretty good movie, right? And like the way they pay them for them basically bringing in arms and stuff was just like there was just piles of cash everywhere, and that actually belonged to the previous government. So I think Kaiser coined the term, right, global hash war, right? Like that was one of the things he said, like, oh my God, there's this global hash war. What if there's a kinetic part of that global hash war? And you know what? This might be a little bit of a joke, and it might be a little bit of a stretch on this example, but I guarantee you, just like we predicted the Saylor thing, so accurately. The moment Saylor dropped that $13 million prediction, I looked Opti dead in the eye. We were still doing it remotely, and I said, Opti, he's gonna have to raise this price target. And that's exactly what happened, right? So I'm saying this right now. There will be a future where the powers that be will use their boom booms to go after Bitcoin mining facilities. It's just game theory. It's just game theory playing out. Now, is it a coincidence that the hash rate dropped the moment that those boom booms dropped? Is that a coincidence? And again, it's where were these boom booms dropped? These boom booms were dropped at like energy facilities, right? So like, what else were they doing with that extra energy? I mean, I'm just saying, maybe I'm call me crazy, bro, but I don't know. Opti, what do you think?
I think you guys are tripping. I do love a good conspiracy theory, and the coincidence of the hash rate dropping at that exact time is very interesting, to say the least. But what's that one trust the science saying? It's like all correlations are not causations, or causation does not equal correlations. I don't know. I mean, I like the theory.
He did say he wanted all the Bitcoin mined in the U.S.
This is true. Look, I am not a trust the plan 5D chess guy, but I don't think that's the 5D chess being played right now. So, that's my take. Though, what's it? Jason Lowry in the chat, super excited. Hash wars are going on. We're talking about it.
I'm going to rub it in your face the moment one day a country uses a boom boom.
Look, I'm not saying in the future
to take out a mining facility.
I am not saying in the future that this isn't a possibility. It's definitely, I think, something that's on the table that will happen. I just don't think that that's what happened.
Someone's bullish in the chat. 5x from here easy by end of year. Dude, if that does this show is going to go to the moon.
So, and then I can laugh at you about it. Anyways, Stu, what's your thought?
Hang on. They got boom boom. They got boom boom powered submarines shooting boom booms at boom boom reactors, and Nico's gonna rub the boom boom in your face.
Yeah,
what's going on here, man? That would be nuts. By the way, if we were at the level of attacking another nation state's mining power, dude, that is madness, man. I personally, I just thought that the gouvernement, your friendly local nation state, was just living war to war so that you wouldn't realize that banks are living bailout to bailout so that we all live paycheck to paycheck. I just thought they were just making it up for us so that we wouldn't be like, oh, hamburger and fries $17 when my uncle was a kid, it was 60 cents. But dude, if they're going after some, if they're throwing some boom booms after some miners, whoa, dude, that's crazy town, man. Now, here's what I'll say, Nico. If I were your friendly local nation state, I wouldn't try to boom another country's miners. I would try to compromise all of their devices and then use like 10 to 15% of the computing power of every device I compromise to just mine Bitcoin for my country, man. So I wouldn't try to blow anything up. I would try to compromise it and judo flip it over to myself.
Dude, Bitmain's been doing that from the beginning.
Yo, you heard it here first, dude. Bitmain. Oh my goodness.
Dude, if you ever turn on a miner for the first, to set it up, it does have a default kind of mining address, right? And imagine where all that hash rate is going. That's number one. And number two, the default firmware on some of these miners, this has been confirmed. This isn't a theory anymore. This isn't some conspiracy theory anymore. So I just will say, I mean, they've played those games before, but I do find it quite, in all seriousness, I find it quite interesting, and it's completely plausible that the hash rate dropped when that thing dropped. Now, on X, everyone's saying it's debunked and, it's just because of power curtailment and all this and that. And, you're crazy. No, it has nothing to do with this and that. I hear you, bros, but simultaneously, a lot of you guys have just been flat out wrong for a lot of these things. And here at Simply Bitcoin, we've been more accurate than we've been wrong. We are Bitcoin's what is it? Oh man, I'm forgetting it, bro.
Tomorrow's Bitcoin news today.
Yeah, we are tomorrow's Bitcoin news today. We get things right a lot. We get more things right than we get things wrong. And I'm calling it. Eventually, there is going to be an attack on a mining facility, not like, some type of illegal attack or whatever, but I'm just calling it. Like, the incentives are there. Because, like, think about it. Like, this nation state, like, Trump's basically saying, I want all the Bitcoin mining to be in the United States, right? Then he uses the boom boom planes to, like, boom something. And then the hash rate drops like a percent. Like, and then like, I don't have anything else to say.
Simply
connect the dots. Connect the dots. Connect the dots.
Tomorrow's boom booms today. Now, as a daily watcher of Simply Bitcoin, I will say this for Nico, for all my Knights of Opti in the chat. Nico follows the news and like nation state politics and different developments so closely that, at least since I've been listening to Simply Bitcoin, Nico has been scarily accurate a number of times. I mean, the only time he made a wrong choice was when he silenced my boy Opti live on YouTube. And we were all there for OptiGate. And I'm trying to tell you, man, dude, my heart almost burst from how like fast I was like, don't you be talking about my Opti speak. I almost went boom boom in the chat when that happened.
Dude, I was trying to be like, to be fair, it's because, I mean, you said it, Opti. A lot of people have a certain type of syndrome, when you mention certain types of people, right? So I was trying to be inclusive in the messaging. But then when they put our boys, the Tornado Cash developers, in a box, and, when we had the opportunity to free Ross, as a company, we just said, hey, you know what? Like, we got to get behind our boy. Like, we got to speak up. We got to say something. We got to speak up. We got to make our voice heard and, endorse the man who's dropping boom booms in the Middle East and said he wasn't.
I don't know about that.
Anyways.
Hey, look, President Opti 2028, and the slogan is a node in every household. Let's go.
Guaranteed. Anyways, guys, if you guys are enjoying the show, make sure to smash that like button. Free Opti. 2,100 of you guys watching live between YouTube and X. If you guys are enjoying the show so far, make sure to smash that like button. Really, really helps with the algos. Share the show. Subscribe if you guys are enjoying the content. We still have a ton of content for you guys, so stay tuned. We're going to hit the news segment. Anthony Pompliano made a massive announcement. He raised $750 million to launch another Bitcoin Treasury company. So we're going to be talking about that. That seems to be kind of the theme of this cycle. All these treasury companies, Bitcoin going into TradFi. So we're going to be talking about that all in just 1 sec.
I want to give a shout out to our partner, Ledin, the leader in Bitcoin-backed loans. Unlock the liquidity in your Bitcoin without having to sell your Bitcoin. They've issued $9 billion in loans to over 10,000 customers since 2018. I absolutely love these guys. Not only do I have an account with them, but I also have a loan. And what I love about them is that there are no monthly payments, and you could pay back the loan at any time. As soon as you send your Bitcoin as collateral, you'll have cash in your account within 24 hours. Over 1,000 five-star customer reviews, and they've never lost a single dollar or sat of customer money. Go to learn.ledin.io/simply today, and you'll get 0.25% off your first loan. I want to give a shout out to our partner, sat123.com. Sovereignty isn't just about your money. It's about your communications too. When the grid goes down, most people go dark. Cell towers fail in hurricanes, cyber attacks, and blackouts. But satellite phones, they don't rely on local infrastructure. Iridium has 77 satellites in orbit, giving you a direct line anywhere in the US, even offshore. If you hold your own Bitcoin keys, you should hold your own comms too. Sat123.com also has everything you need to start building your Bitcoin citadel. Starlink, battery backups, Faraday bags to protect your hardware wallets, and much, much more. It's a one-stop shop for anyone serious about resilience and off-grid independence. Stay connected, stay independent, stay sovereign. Go to sat123.com/simply today and use promo code SIMPLY to get 15% off anything on the store. I want to give a shout out to our partner, Cold Card. If you're serious about self-custody, Cold Card is the best Bitcoin hardware wallet. There is no second best. The Cold Card Q is the ultimate air-gapped Bitcoin signing device, complete with a full keyboard, large screen, camera, NFC support, and much more. Do you prefer something sleeker? The MK4 is trusted by hardcore Bitcoiners around the world. Both are built by Bitcoiners for Bitcoiners, secure and open source. Simply Bitcoin viewers get 5% off with promo code SIMPLY. Take self-custody of your Bitcoin today with Cold Card.
All right, everybody. Scan the QR code on your screen right now. It'll take you directly to the Cold Card website. You can use promo code SIMPLY. Get 5% off. This is the best Bitcoin hardware wallet. Remember, guys, not your keys, not your cheese. You want to take self-custody of your Bitcoin. It's incredibly, incredibly, incredibly important. I can't emphasize that enough. So go to coldcard.com, use promo code SIMPLY, get 5% off anything on the store. Today's breaking news, Anthony Pompliano pro-cap to go public in $1 billion Bitcoin Treasury SPAC deal. Here are some of the details. Anthony Pompliano is taking his Bitcoin native financial platform pro-cap BTC public through a $1 billion merger with Columbus Circle Capital Corp, a CCCM, a special purpose acquisition company sponsored by affiliate of Cohen and Company. The transition announced Monday positions the new entity ProCap Financial Inc. as one of the largest Bitcoin treasury companies ever to hit public markets, and what's being called the largest initial fundraise for a public Bitcoin treasury company to date. ProCap raised $550 million in preferred equity and secured $225 million in convertible notes, giving future shareholders immediate exposure to Bitcoin through a structure designed to acquire BTC ahead of the deal's close. Led by Pompliano, a well-known investor and vocal Bitcoin advocate, ProCap aims to operate at the intersection of digital assets and traditional finance. The company plans to generate profit not just by holding BTC, but by actively deploying its Bitcoin balance sheet across yield-generating strategies that mitigate risk and capitalize on crypto financial infrastructure. Quote, the legacy financial system is being disrupted by Bitcoin, Pompliano said in a statement. ProCap Financial represents our solution to the increasing demand for Bitcoin native financial services among sophisticated investors. The merger values the combined entity at up to $1 billion, depending on the final Bitcoin purchase price at closing. ProCap's BTC assets will be custodied until the transaction completes, giving investors near instant BTC exposure without waiting for the company to go public. The transaction is expected to close before the end of 2025, pending SEC review and shareholder approval. Here's a quick clip of no, I don't have it. I do have it, actually. It's right here. Here is Anthony Pompliano on Squawk Box this morning talking about the transaction itself.
Well, it says here Bitcoin's rebounding, I guess, maybe, based on whatever close. It did drop below $99,000 mark. That was yesterday. Joining us now, it doesn't feel like it's up $2,000. Anthony Pompliano, founder and CEO of Professional Capital Management. It kind of slowly just has been selling off for about 3 weeks, I think. And last week it got worse, broke under 105 all the way down to 99. I mean, I know what you're going to say. But when there's things like this going on, people sell what they're able to sell, and it's pretty liquid.
Yeah, look, I think that over the weekend, we've now seen throughout this year, multiple geopolitical events have transpired on Saturday or Sunday. The traditional markets are closed. Bitcoin is 24/7 global and liquid. And so people do sell what they want to sell. Now, we see that stocks are down this morning, and I think that many assets will get sold when people are able to sell those as well. But also, I think that a core function of Bitcoin is not only the accessibility, but it is the volatility. And what you're seeing here is that people are reacting, whether it's positive or negative. Bitcoin just moves more. And ultimately, if you look over the last 90 days, Bitcoin's up 15%, and it's up over 50% in the last year. So I think Bitcoin investors are very happy that they're continuing to see volatility.
I just think that the overriding theme of the past 2 months, though, has been cool inflation and more dovish comments coming, at least from some members of the Fed. That's what Bitcoin wants, isn't it? I mean, rate cuts, QE, anything that increases the number of dollars out there. The big beautiful bill is going to add how much? I mean, all these things seem like they're playing right into Bitcoin's wheelhouse. It was up to 110,000 from where it was at 17, 2 years ago, or 17,000? It wasn't that long ago. So it's come a long way, but it is, and you can't look at it the way I'm looking at it.
If you think about that volatility, Bitcoin was down, $75,000, $76,000 just a few weeks ago.
Right.
We're back up over $100,000. And so again, it's the volatility of Bitcoin is what is attractive to a very large audience of those holders. But also, I think that the large pools of capital now realize that it is big enough for them to allocate to. And that's where you're really seeing kind of this adoption, both on Wall Street and at the nation state level. And I think that's only going to continue.
So I think that last part is the part that I want to focus on, which is these big pools of capital are now interested in Bitcoin. So again, from a nation state level, from an institutional level, but as I was saying in the beginning of the show, smart money acts a little bit differently than retail. They don't want to buy billions of dollars of Bitcoin and then move the price up. So they do it in a very slow and strategic way. And that's exactly what has been happening, ladies and gentlemen. So make no mistake, tons of Bitcoin are being bought in the background. But if we are to believe VJ, right? I don't know how much, I'm on the fence with VJ's assessment. Like, if you're an OG, okay, right? And, you have 1,000 Bitcoin, right? It's like $100 million these days. And, you're like, dude, I've been in this for like a decade. Like, I just want to buy buy a house, kind of, upgrade my lifestyle a little bit. Let me just sell 100 Bitcoin, or let me just sell, 20 Bitcoin or 30 Bitcoin, whatever. They still have 1,000 Bitcoin, bro. So who are these OGs? Do they have tens of thousands of Bitcoin? Like, I mean, you can't have that many OGs, bro. Like, if you just do the math real quick, like, the math ain't mathin' is all I'm trying to say, right? If there's 19 million Bitcoin available, right? So, and you divide that, let's say, by 10,000, right? There's only 2,000 people that can have 10,000 Bitcoin.
And that's saying only whales own it.
Right? That's only 2,000 Bitcoin. There's only 2,000 people that could own 10,000 Bitcoin, right? And then let's do the math. We can keep doing this math, right? So let's say 19 million Bitcoin divided by 1,000, which is a lot of Bitcoin. 19,000. So there's only 19,000 people on this planet that could own 1,000 Bitcoin. So, like, there's not that many of these whales, right? And remember when Lop came on the show? He was like, dude, I'm in, and Lop's an OG. And he was like, dude, like, I'm in a lot of these Telegram groups and I have no idea who's selling. And Adam Back was saying the same thing. So, I mean, is it paper games? Is it paper games?
It's really 42 million Bitcoin. Sorry, guys.
Is it paper games, bro? That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying, dude. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. In other news, also, I do want to cover this. Michael Saylor, once again, we used to make titles on this and the shows would pop. But now it's just Michael Saylor strategy has acquired 245 Bitcoin for $26 million at 105,000 per coin. This comment is hilarious. Bro found some pocket change in his drawer to buy the Bitcoin dip. Oh man. And then the memes are hilarious.
I'm taking a different route on this. It seems like Saylor's running out of cash, because remember his old buys, he would buy tens of thousands of coins for, billions of dollars. Now, and it's hard to say this, but a measly 25 mil only gets you 245 Bitcoin. Saylor, bro. Infinite money glitch is seemingly running out. What's going on here? But
I think there's just so much competitors.
Yeah,
dude.
yeah,
It's a little bit different.
It's getting harder. But on the pomp news, one, I'm
Not the only one to notice that you were calling it pro crap by accident, but that is yeah.
I didn't mean to say that. I didn't mean to say that.
And
What
I
was
think
it called?
it's pro cap. Pro cap.
What was I saying?
Pro crap. You said it twice by accident. That was a Freudian slip there. But for anyone that's been around and knows, if you know, you know.
Rocket ship, get on board.
So that's my thoughts on that.
I did not mean to call it pro crap.
I know. That's why I'm trolling you. But there is an interesting story here, which is the idea like this is the biggest initial Bitcoin Treasury, fundraiser that we've seen. So I think this is kind of one of those stories where like, yeah, this is all the rage right now, but coming out strong with a 750 mil raise and already buying Bitcoin or already able to get exposure to Bitcoin. Like you're starting to see that a lot of these Bitcoin treasury companies are kind of iterating and trying to kind of differentiate themselves, which is, I think, on the one hand, a good thing. And then on the other hand, who knows how this is all going to end. We're just here like watching this crazy stuff happen and the FOMO of trying to acquire as much Bitcoin play out. Now, the real question is, like we're saying, how much Bitcoin or paper Bitcoin is in the system, because if the price doesn't rip, there is some shenanigans going on. So I think we'll know by the end of the year what's actually going on. Anyway, Stu, what's your thoughts?
Well, first things first, come on in, man. I mean, if somebody buying $1 billion worth of Bitcoin is a problem for Bitcoin, then we got a real problem on our hands. You know what I mean? So for me, come on in, right? Like I want Bitcoin to be the world's money. And if we need suit coiners to smash Bitcoin and drive up that exchange rate before they exit out into some other thing they're interested in, and meanwhile my bags get pumped all the way upward, gone ahead, man. Because I'm trying to get each individual person on earth stacking sats and using them to save and to spend, right? I just want Bitcoin to be money because that's what it is. So dude, go on ahead and buy $1 billion. Michael Saylor keeps smashing. Like if I had pools of capital, I'd be smashing Bitcoin too, man. All I got is like, tiny little sweat droplets that I'm pulling off trying to buy some dust with, like a fiat debt slave. But if I had all that money, I'd do it too, man. So let's have at it. I just think that they need to get guys like us on CNBC, man, because we need to be rolling in there and letting these people know what Bitcoin is actually about.
What is it actually about, bro? Break it down.
Man, dude, I think Bitcoin is about so much we don't even know everything that it's about yet. But for me, Bitcoin is a way to provide a future for my family at, middle class income levels, right? Like it's a way for me to get off the hamster wheel of fiat and like drive my time and energy into something that's going to actually conserve it for me. It's a way to reset what I value in my life. It's a way to lower my time preference. It's a way to make me a healthier person because I, start making better choices. I mean, Bitcoin has changed who I am as a person and what I value. And if a suit coiner needs to come in and buy Bitcoin with fiat because they have big dreams of making more fiat with that, then that's okay. Some people, especially when we were at the show in Vegas, I saw a lot of guys where you could see in their eyes, they saw Bitcoin as a vehicle for more political power. And for me, Bitcoin and holding Bitcoin in self-custody is power. That is power. It's like when Harry Potter is with Professor Quirrell out in front of the mirror of Erised. You know what I mean? Quirrell wants to use the Sorcerer's Stone for something, so he can't get it out of the mirror. Harry just wants to have the stone to keep it safe, dude. It pops right out. I'm trying to be like Harry Potter over here, Nico.
I am building.
Pew, 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 pew.
I meant to hit the horns.
Opti, this is what I was trying to help you with, bro.
Okay, get to the next segment.
Anyways, guys, it's really a great show. 2,257 of you guys watching live. Stu dropping Harry Potter references, coming in hot.
Nerd.
Yeah, I got the magic. I got the magic stick. Come on, y'all.
But we're gonna be talking about Stu's show during the culture segment. They're coming in hot. They give sats away during their show. And you guys are gonna want to stick around for that. So, anyways, we'll be right back in just a second. We're gonna hit the culture. I want to give a shout out to our partner, HIVE Digital Technology. Why HIVE in 2025? Unstoppable growth. As the first ever public miner, HIVE's position to quadruple their global footprint, making them one of the world's fastest growing miners in 2025. And with elite operations that consistently top the industry in Bitcoin mined per exahash, HIVE's now headquartered in the USA. They're lean and mean, they're green and clean, and they're rewriting the playbook on sustainable Bitcoin mining. You can catch the latest buzz at HIVE Digital Tech or at hivedigitaltech.com. I want to give a shout out to our sponsor, Casa. Casa makes self-custody easy and secure. As a Bitcoiner, I care about holding my own private keys, but multi-sig can sometimes get tricky. Casa nails it with a multi-key security. So even if one key gets lost or stolen, your Bitcoin stays safe. And you don't give up custody, meaning no one could access your Bitcoin but you. No seed phrase anxiety, no single point of failure. I've been telling my friends and family about Casa for years. Their UX and UI on their app is by far the best in the industry. Inheritance planning is built in, and they even offer Casa for Business if you're thinking about a Bitcoin Treasury. Hit up casa.io today and use promo code SIMPLY to get 10% off Casa Standard or Casa Premium. Head over to casa.io. All right, everybody, we are back. If you guys are enjoying today's Simply Bitcoin Live, make sure to smash that like button. Where are we at in the likes? We're at 138. Help us break 150 likes by the time we wrap up the show. So smash that like button. We got Stu in the chat. In the show today.
Well, he's in the chat too.
He's in the chat. He's on the show. He's on the show. He's on the show, and he's in the chat, and he's our guest. Go check out the SatChats podcast. Stu, there's so many Bitcoin podcasts these days, bro. What makes SatChats
Wait, no.
different?
Let's hold off on that one. I want to hear Stu tell the chat how SatChats came to be, because it's basically, grew out of the Simply Bitcoin ethos. No, it's not a fork.
Okay.
We inspired him. So, Stu, you were telling me this before the show. Let's start with that for the audience, and it's really proof of work. And like, if not you, then who? So send it.
All right,
Stu.
awesome. So first of all, big ups to Simply Bitcoin and everyone in the chat that's in here every day. Like Simply Bitcoin's chat on YouTube is like just dedicated Bitcoiners that are coming together to hang out, and you all were there for me basically around February or so of last year, right? So January of last year is when I saw a headline that Bitcoin ETFs had been approved. I'm like, dude, Bitcoin's still around. And then my next question is like, what is an ETF? And that sent me down a rabbit hole to where I realized that I had been living in this world my whole life, working for something that I had never thought about once. I hadn't ever thought about money one time. I just felt I could out earn my stupidity infinitely by getting, bigger and better salaries. Well, I found Bitcoin. I found Bitcoin books. I found Bitcoin podcasts, and I listened to every single one of them. But the one that I liked the most was Simply Bitcoin, because it was a live show every day. Everybody was hanging out in the chat. My favorite thing to do was say dumb stuff about how much I loved Opti and see if he would laugh and put it on screen for me. And then I eventually started this whole Lord Opti Knights of Opti stuff. And I was like, I will appear on my Lord Opti show one day. So I ended up orange pilling the CEO of Ithaca Hummus, which is like a very successful multi-million-dollar hummus company. You guys should try to go eat some. And he was like, man, I this is my fiat business. I want to make a Bitcoin business. and I want to make it with you. And he had all these ideas. And I'm like, dude, none of those are better than just buying Bitcoin and holding Bitcoin. Like, what else you got? And he said, you know what? You're really good at talking about Bitcoin. Let's do like a podcast or a YouTube show. So, SatChats was born out of, my daily time with Simply Bitcoin. I mean, Nico taught me all about the 6102 order, about nation states, about the sovereign individual, about how important Bitcoin was, how important self-custody was. Opti taught me that it was okay to just laugh and have fun and stack sats and just like be comfortable with, the time it takes to build real generational wealth in Bitcoin and kind of like slowly exit out of this fiat clown world. So January of this year, on January 20th, we published our first episode, and SatChats, Nico, to answer your question, SatChats is different for this reason, okay? So I was consuming, a massive number of podcasts, and I thought to myself, okay, I don't want to cover what Simply Bitcoin covers because Simply Bitcoin already does it better than I could do it. So we're not going to worry about, the types of like headlines, news, nation state, politics, developments, that kind of stuff, right? I also don't want to come at Bitcoin with like the patina of a financial person who's like, oh yes, this asset isn't, dude, no, thank you. And like, I didn't want to be journalistic either because I'm not a journalist. I'm just a dude. I'm just a dad here in Raleigh, North Carolina. That's it. So I thought, well, you know what we could do? We could focus on helping pre-coiners stack their first sats. Because I'm listening to Simply Bitcoin every single day. And, over time, it's starting to click for me. I'm peeling the layers back. I'm starting to realize that Bitcoin is the greatest of all time. But everyone I spoke to was just looking at me like I was an alien. You know what I mean? Like my son would come over, with a $20 bill because like he wants to take it to the pool party. I'm like, well, son, you better put that in a Ziploc bag because it's a melting ice cube. Yeah. I'm like, you're going to get all your hands wet touching that thing. He's like, Dad, you're the worst ever. So I just was looking around like, Nico and Opti and everyone out there that's, podcasting and writing books and on Bitcoin Twitter, like everybody's doing all this work to try to help people understand Bitcoin and they're still not getting it. Like what's going on? It's almost like this powerful Bitcoin signal that you all are pumping out every day on YouTube. It's getting to within 1 mile of someone's home and not any further, like an Amazon package that's waiting to get handed off to the US Postal Service to go the last mile into their mailbox or their front porch, right? So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to dedicate my life to Bitcoin and to the Lord Opti. And when, the cyber Middle Ages come about, I will be rallying all the knights to his Bitcoin citadel so that we can start a new world order. But for now, it's like, let me sit somebody down right here in the studio, okay? So I sit here in this studio. The studio is right here in Raleigh. My co-host Chris, who's the CEO and founder of Ithaca Compass, he sits right here. When you're a guest, you sit right over here, and we sit down. And if you have no Bitcoin, then we just simply ask the question, hey man, how much do you know about Bitcoin? And they say, oh, it's a fake. I think my sister was on the show recently and she's like, I know that it's fake money coins. I'm like, oh my God.
You're embarrassing me.
I'm like, Lid, please, you're killing me. So then we say, okay, stop. Let's talk about that. It's fake money coins. Let's talk about that. Or they might say, well, I know it's electronic money, but like it's running out and you can't buy anymore. It's like, stop. Let's talk about that, Or I know that it's something the CIA created. I'm like, bro, okay, stop. Let's talk about that. And we talk to them and just we chat about sats, right? I mean, it's in the name, SatChats. It's the Bitcoin podcast where we chat about sats. So we take the pre-coiner through their own mind and kind of help them realize that the only thing that's stopping them from stacking sats is just having a good, clean one-on-one conversation with someone who can talk to them about Bitcoin. And after about 45 some odd minutes, we actually take a brain break because learning about Bitcoin is hard. and it makes your blood pressure drop, right? The sugars, what do you call it? Your blood sugar drops. So we crunch some of this Ithaca hummus. We'll get some woven wheat out. They get to choose their flavor. We crunch on some hummus. We get way down into the microphones for some ASMR. I actually think that our entire audience just likes to hear us crunch woven wheat crackers. And then we offer them their choice. And we actually have it right here. Hang on. So at the end of the show, we'll say, look, you don't have any Bitcoin. You didn't know anything about Bitcoin. Now we've talked about it. And now we're going to give you a choice, right? And we offer them this $50 bill. And then we used the Clark Moody dashboard for a while because I got that from you guys. And then we found UTX Oracle, which is something that Simple Steve created. And it is absolutely insane. So we calculate the price of Bitcoin over here on UTX Oracle. And we basically say, okay, $50 worth of Bitcoin at today's rates is, 47,000 sats, 50,000 sats, 52,000 sats. And we offer them 50 government tokens, right? 50 naughty little slips of nation state paper, or, 47,000 sats, 50,000 sats. And since January, we have had 85 guests on the show. It's every weekday on YouTube. 78 have chosen to stack the sats. 7 still need a little bit more time. So we feel like we are kind of doing like the Johnny Appleseed, Paul Bunyan work of like just basically orange pilling pre-coiners by hand, one at a time, and then, videotaping it and publishing it on YouTube. We also bring Bitcoiners on, however. And when we have a Bitcoiner, we basically pull their Bitcoin story out of them, right? So Jameson Lopp has been on your show, and he's been on a million podcasts, and he's often talking about what's coming next or what technological items could be, added to Bitcoin. On our show, he was talking about being a college student going to the State Employees Credit Union to wire his first check to Mount Gox years ago. And the bank manager was saying, listen, man, this is super risky. Are you absolutely sure? And he had to like work with him for 2 hours just to get them to send the money to Mount Gox, right? We had a Bitcoiner on who accidentally threw away a laptop with 400 Bitcoin on it, and he looks at that and says, yeah, I basically threw away $40 million in today's terms, but he's been dollar cost averaging for years and he didn't even care. He told the story of giving his nephew like a Bitcoin when the nephew was like 2 years old. And now his parents have come to, his name's Adam. They said, Adam, we could pay off our house with the Bitcoin you gave to our son. Can we have access to it? And he's like, no, you can't, because that's your son's Bitcoin. Now, if your son turns 18 and he wants to pay off your loan, he can do that, but that's your boy's Bitcoin. Bam, dude. So we have some incredible Bitcoin stories that we're collecting almost like in an arc for when, Bitcoin goes mainstream and some of these stories get lost. So each day, either you're getting a pre-coiner who's learning to stack their first sats, or hopefully, again, we've had people, they chose the cash and it hurts deeply, or we have a Bitcoiner on and we're getting their Bitcoin stories, but they get their choice as well, man. They get their choice. So everybody who comes on the show gets their choice of $50 or $50 worth of Bitcoin. Every single person can come on our show. You just go to SatChats.com and you grab your slot in our studio today. It's just like Bitcoin. It's accessible to everyone. So you can come on the show, whether it's in person or virtually. If you're a Bitcoiner, which everybody in Simply Bitcoin is a Bitcoiner, you guys need to come help me, man. I'm dying over here. All right. My sister thinks that Bitcoin is fake money coins, man. She said, I think it's like when Mario hits the question box and then jumps up on top and collects a coin. I'm like, oh my God, Lid. She doesn't care about inflation. Like, we're dying over here. So we need you guys to come tell us your Bitcoin stories. Get yourself $50 worth of Bitcoin. And we also ask every guest, Bitcoiner or pre-coiner, whether they would be willing to come back on in 9 months, because we want to study the impact of Bitcoin over time at 0 months, 9 months, 18, 27, 36. Do you become a Bitcoiner? Does it change your finances? Do you take no action, right? So we've got a lot going on here, but we're tiny little babies with negative 200 followers on YouTube. And we need everyone who supports you all to come over to us and smash the subscribe button. Because when you do, you'll be entered into your chance to win 10 million sats, dude. 10 million Satoshis, dude. Who doesn't want $10,222 at today's exchange? Bro, give me a break. We're giving away 50,000 sats a show. When we hit 1,000 subscribers, we randomly pulled a subscriber and dropped 1 million Satoshis on his face. And now we're trying to drop 10 million when we reach 100K subscribers. So come on over here. And when you're done getting the hot daily sauce from Nico and Opti, just come over to Stewart at SatChats and we'll do Bitcoin story time. It'll be great.
Bitcoin story time, giving away sats to stack some subs. Man, I love it. I love it. Well, I support you guys. Another Bitcoin podcast. I love it. This is how we spread the Bitcoin signal out there. And I appreciate the kind words, man. It's very, very kind of you, dude. And you know, it's been a hell of a ride. Me and Opti basically started this kind of not knowing what we were doing, and we had no idea it would lead us to where we are today, so it seems like you guys just started your content creation journey. Keep chipping at it. It's a long and tumultuous journey, and sometimes you get frustrated because you're like, nobody's watching. But what I will say is that eventually it compounds and it stacks up, and eventually, before you know it, you have followers and you have people that are listening to you and you have people that are tuning in. So it's an amazing journey. And dude, it's super, super glad that you came on the show today to share some of your wisdom and share some of your knowledge and share what you guys are doing differently over there at SatChats. So go give them a follow, guys, on YouTube. They're giving away sats. They're going to be giving away a lot more sats once they hit subscriber milestones. Again, today is June.
Wait, Nico. Before we go, we got to plug one last story here because Stewart is the only officially knighted Knight of Optis here. So let just do a quick story time. I know we're trying to wrap up here. Nico's giving me the stare, but
the only person who wants Simply Bitcoin to end on time is Nico. Mark my words, dude. He's the only guy. The rest of us are in the chat. We're like, we're not doing anything. We just want to hang out and talk about Bitcoin. So I'll tell you the story real quick. It turns out that, someone, his name's Jacob. He's like a big heavy at Simply Bitcoin. He lives here in Raleigh with me. We go to the same Bitcoin meetup. Simple Steve was telling Jacob, like, guys, these dudes are doing a podcast right here, and I love it. Short story long, we were able to meet Jacob at the show in Vegas. And he's like, dude, you guys want to come on the show and do a little spot together? That got us access to the media area. Because again, negative 200 followers. They're like, yeah, you can get a regular ticket, you pleb. But Simply Bitcoin, they were in like the Privado area. So we go back there. Here comes Opti, my personal hero. By the way, Opti in real life is 9 foot tall, 410 pounds, dude. He's absolutely a specimen. And he comes up extra nonchalant. And I tell him, listen, man, I am a Knight of Opti. I'm loyal to you, brother. Will you knight me? I literally bent the knee to my guy and I handed him a fat water bottle. And he just with the largesse of someone who has nobility in his blood, he straight knighted me on the one shoulder. He comes over on another shoulder. And then this guy claims to have 70 IQ. Nah, dude, 700 IQ. He comes, he taps the top of the head. He did an actual correct Middle Ages style knighting with a bottle of freaking Aquafina on the floor of Las Vegas. And dude, and he was like, rise ye up, Knight of Opti. And my life changed.
Nico had to take him off. Too much Opti love in the chat.
Sound off. I want my Knights of Opti in the chat. I want an army of chatters every day on Simply Bitcoin because you'll see me, SatChats. I'm in the chat. I want us all blessing Opti up big time from henceforth.
Let's go. I endorse this message.
I can't figure out how to take Opti off. But anyways, If you guys enjoyed today's show, June 23rd, 2025, make sure to smash that like button. Consider subscribing. I'm your host, Nico. This is my legendary co-host, Optimus Fields. And of course, our special guest for today, Stu from SatChats. So go check out SatChat. Guys, love you all. We'll see you guys tomorrow for a brand new episode of SB Live. Take care, everybody.
Today's episode was brought to you by BitcoinWell.com, a Bitcoin-only platform on a mission to enable financial independence.